Happy to see you once again here. Today our topic is, we are going to see about voices. So what is mean by voice? So here, voice is not mentioning about our tone, either sweet or rough. Okay. So here, voice is nothing. It is the form of a verb. Okay. Voice is a form of a verb that indicates whether the subject does or the subject is being acted upon. Okay. So, in a sentence, what about the subject? Whether that subject is doing that action or the subject is being acted upon the action. Okay. That is called as voice. So, if we take this voice, here we have two kinds of voices. One is active voice, another one is passive voice. So, I will be reading now. Voice is the form of verb which indicates whether the subject acts or is being acted upon. Okay, here I have given an example. I write a letter. Okay. So then what does mean by this active voice? Active voice, as I stated, in active voice, the subject is acting. Okay, the subject is doing that action. For example, I ate an apple. I ate an apple. I have given here. Here, what about the subject? I is the subject. If you take this example, here I is the subject, ate is the verb, and apple is the object. Okay. So here, what about this subject? This I. So this I is doing the action. So what is that action done by the subject? Eating. What is the action done by the subject? Eating. So here the subject is doing the action. That's why we can mention the sentence as given in active voice. So here the subject is doing the action. That's why we are mentioning this as active voice. The sentence is given in active voice. Okay. Then how can we change this? What about this passive voice? Passive voice is nothing. The subject is being acted upon the action. The subject is being acted upon the action. While we are changing this active voice into passive voice, what we have to do means, just we have to bring this object in the place of subject. Then you have to bring the subject in the place of object. Then we have to change the form of this verb. Okay. So, here an apple. Here we are going to change this verb into is. Why we use this is means, as the subject is given in third person singular, we are using this auxiliary is here. So, the subject is given in third person singular. We are using the auxiliary verb is here. This is the primary auxiliary. Okay, so we introduce the be form of verb is here. Okay, so the apple is. Then in passive voice, always we have to use the third form of the verb. In passive voice, always we have to use the third form of the verb. Okay, so the third form of the verb for eat is eaten. The third form of the verb for eat is eaten. That's why I have used this eaten. Then while we are changing this active voice into passive voice, we have to introduce the preposition by. So while we are changing this active voice into passive voice, we have to introduce the preposition by. That's why we are going to use this preposition by here. So, an apple is eaten by. Who has eaten that apple? So, this I. Okay. So here we have to change this pronoun I into me. We are changing this, okay, subject I into me. Okay. So once again I'll be explaining how can we change this active voice into passive voice. So here in the first sentence, I eat an apple. Here the subject is doing that action. So what is that action? Eating is the action. This action is done by the subject in the first sentence. If you take that an apple is eaten by me, here we'll be taking this an apple as the subject. So what about the subject? Whether the subject is doing that action or receiving that action. So here the subject is receiving that action. So here the action is being performed, okay, by the subject. So an apple is eaten by me. Okay. So this is the method how we have to change this active voice into passive voice. So the remaining I'll be explaining you in the next class. Okay, thank you.